So Friday was an absolute bloodbath in the silver market. Down from a peak of about 120, ended up settling at 85, made its way all the way down to 75. It was a bloodbath. But there is a silver lining. You like what I did there? There's some reason for optimism, and I want to explain that to you. I try to not be too doom and gloom all the time, although there's a lot of stuff to be worried about, not only in silver, but in the economy and in general. So let's cover, I'm going to try to stay on topic on this one and just stick with the theme here of what good came out of what happened on Friday. So we know that JP Morgan Chase basically decided to go with delivery on a big contract. I believe it was 633 short positions that they decided to go and take delivery on. The fact that the price dropped as much as it did when they finalized that deal, they saved themselves about $120 million, if my math is correct, and I think it is, by executing that contract the time that they did versus having done it first thing in the morning. Coincidence? I don't know. Maybe they're just geniuses. I made a video, if you haven't watched it, about the possibility that, there are ways that the silver market and any market can be manipulated. It's possible. I'm not saying anybody's doing it, but the math is there. So if you haven't watched that, go check it out. But so again, let's get to why it could actually be a good thing. We all know that the paper market is what moves quickly. That's where you see these wild shifts. That's where you see this big spike that we've had over the last 6 or 8 months, however long it's been. It's been a pretty wild ride, and that wouldn't happen in just a physical market, right? That's going to require the paper marketplace for that kind of a shift to take place that quickly, right? So let's put that out there. But then what we've seen and what we saw on Friday can be explained as the banks shot off their bullet. They've shot off some smaller ones recently. You've seen some just immediate price drops, and then it regroups within minutes. We've seen that happen before, and again, I don't want to say it's manipulation because it's built into the system. That's sort of the way the system is designed. The banks and the ETFs, they didn't design these things without having a plan on how they can use them to their advantage, right? It's not a flaw, it's part of the system on purpose, okay? You need to understand that to understand where this is going. So JP Morgan and other big institutions that have tons of money and tons of power, they shot off a lot of their bullets on Friday. Not all of them. Don't expect this to be the last one, but they shot off a big old bullet. And guess what? In January, we were still up almost 20%. I mean, we all say you don't want these big bankers and everybody else to be greedy, but let's not be greedy. Silver went up 20% still, even after that in January. So that's a little bit of a silver lining, right? Even after that terrible day. The other thing is, as silver or any commodity or any asset really rises as this quick, a lot of times you end up looking back and thinking, darn, I wish I had more time to stock up on it, right? To load up. Well, here's your shot, right? So in a year from now, when you look back and you think, man, I wish I had more. Well, this was your shot, So that's a little bit of a silver lining as well. I've heard of people saying, oh, people just panicked. It was just, a standard sell-off. It was not. There was definitely some coordination going on. There was definitely a lot going on behind the scenes on the paper side, for sure. Physical side can't move this fast. It's just not possible logistically or any other way. But you didn't see the money enter the stock market. The stock market was down too. You didn't see a whole lot of bond buying. Certainly didn't go into crypto. Crypto was down too. So, some people have explained, people just got out of metal. They took their profits and moved over to another risk asset. No, they didn't. The money just left. It just left. And I've warned of this. I've had several videos and several posts where I say, be on your toes. There's clearly a lot of manipulation going on right now, and things are going to move fast, and they're not always going to move fast in your favor. So you need to be aware of that. if you hold the physical silver, which I hope you do, I hope, if you got locked up on a contract or an ETF or, somewhere on paper and you literally lost money, I feel for you. That's a terrible feeling. You have my sympathy. But for those of us that just hold the metal, we didn't lose anything, right? You still have the same number of ounces of silver that you did. Maybe you've got more. I actually went out and got some 2/3 of the way down the fall. I picked some up at 93, right? Felt pretty smart. I would have felt smarter, at 75, but timing didn't work that way. But I'm pretty happy with that pickup, and I'll get some more as well. But don't expect this to be the last one of these, and capitalize on it. And don't get your feelings hurt and think, oh man, this is terrible. This is the end of the world. I can't believe they did this. Of course they did this. They're not going to stop. I mean, this is what we talk about, right? The system sort of is rigged. That doesn't make it fair. That doesn't make it moral or just or right or anything. A lot of the things going on. A lot of the reason you probably buy silver is because you recognize that the world's not fair and just and right. The money printing, the government debt and spending and inflation. You recognize all that. None of that's fair. So don't expect the silver market to be fair either. But recognize that if you hold physical silver, you've lost nothing. Do you wish you had sold it Friday morning? Of course. Recognize that, swallow that pill, and move on. Do you wish you had magically loaded up when it hit 75 for those, few seconds? Of course. That's natural. Don't beat yourself up. Swallow that pill too. Take it and move on. Don't expect this to be the last one of these to happen, okay? Exercise caution. The Asian markets have not opened up yet. They open up, I think, here in a few hours. What happens tomorrow, I hate to be hypey, but what happens tomorrow in both the metal market and in crypto too, because they're kind of coming up against some big numbers, is going to be kind of important. It's might tell us, sort of what direction we're going next. If silver and gold rebound right off of this, 75 it's an important number, and it bounced off of it so far. So if it stays above that, and then regroups above like 85, then this is not a prediction. Don't do anything I'm saying. I'm not telling you what to do, please. But if it gets above and stays above 88 or so, then we're probably, the worst is probably behind us for now. And when I say for now, I mean for a few days. If you wake up and it's sunk back down, it's lower, then we could be looking at 65 easy. 65 would be the next logical stop. If it breaks through that, then who knows? None of these are predictions. I'm literally not giving the odds of any of this happening. I'm just telling you sort of fundamentally from a chart perspective what to look out for. There's still a big gap between the paper price on the COMEX and the physical price in Shanghai and in real life, even in America. If you look at SLV, the ETF, versus the spot price, there's a pretty wide gap. It was like $8 last time I looked. That's not supposed to be that way. That just shows you that the paper manipulation game and the physical game are completely separated right now. More so, I think, than ever. Right? So I'll start wrapping up here. Before I move on, guys, subscribe to my channel. Right? I think I bring some insightful information. I try not to hype you up about anything. I try not to tell you what to do other than to tell you to, learn as much as you can and stay on your toes. I have no interest in whether you buy or sell anything. None of that matters to me. I just want to give you the information that I think can help you lead a better financial life. So hit the little subscribe button. Why not? Okay. So keep an eye on Monday, because it's going to be interesting. We're going to find out a lot about what we might be looking at over the next days or weeks coming up from that. Expect the manipulation to continue, but again, the silver lining here is they shot a big shot. They threw a haymaker here, and you survived. Now, do you sort of wish it never happened? Of course, there's going to be a part of you that wishes this never happened, but view it in this way. They shot their shot and you survived. And now you've got the opportunity to pick up some scraps, right? Go look on Craigslist, go to your coin shop, go whatever. And then now's your shot. You know, here's the pullback. You can buy some more. Could it go lower? Absolutely. It absolutely can go lower. Could it begin skyrocketing again by the time you wake up on Monday? Absolutely. Either one of those could happen. So view it from in a positive perspective, which is always a good thing to do in life, I think. It's an opportunity. Was it unfair? 100% it was unfair. Was there some, let's use the word manipulation? Absolutely, 100%. Did they break some moral ethics and codes that you wish they didn't break? For sure. Laws? I don't know. We know about that JP Morgan Chase contract. We know that for sure. I even ran it through ChatGPT and it confirmed, yeah, that's legit. Do we know if they worked in coordination to sink the price themselves, or was that just a cascading effect of short positions, margin calls, all this other kind of stuff all happening at once? Yeah, maybe. Oh, they also raised the margin spike, so, which is also, the margin rate. So again, I think that's good news. These things are going to smooth out the market and begin to lessen the power that the paper side has, which I think is a good thing, because I think the majority of us are in this for the physical metal, not for the, we're not trying to be day traders of silver, right? So the higher the margin requirement gets, that's going to smooth out a lot of the paper, right? It's going to be a bumpy ride while that happens, but it's going to smooth it out. And if this was their big shot, if this was like they threw everything they had into this and now they're done suppressing the price, then kudos to all of us. You still got your silver. You got an opportunity to pick up some on sale now, and you survived. So there's definitely a silver lining. Again, giving myself a pat on the back for going out with silver lining here. So hang in there. Look at it from the positive perspective that I think it really is. Allow yourself to be frustrated. Allow yourself to be mad. That's fine. Rest assured, there's nothing you can do about it. Nobody's getting arrested. Nobody's going to jail. There will be no investigation into what happened. It's not going to happen. It may have helped, in fact, save some banks, because there's some banks that have some really nasty open short positions against silver, and the more it goes up, the more those banks are in trouble. I've already made a video on commercial real estate and the problems it's going to cause for banks. So maybe there's a silver lining there too. Maybe it kept some banks from going under. So make sure you subscribe, and I'll try to keep you updated. We'll see how the next couple of days goes. I'll keep on dropping some shorts, and we'll stay on top of things. We'll see you next time.